Let's talk about it, everybody. Let's talk about it. Let us get it going. Let's talk about it. Okay, good folks. Uh-oh, I keep doing this, man. About it. Oh, what am I doing? Get it going. Sorry about that, everybody. What's happening, everybody? It's your boy Leo Bridgewater, and welcome to the bird section. Oh! So listen. We're getting down to the brass taxes of things. Everything's happening rather kind of fast. And I just wanted to hop on here real quick just to give some quick updates on as the Philadelphia Eagles get down to the 53-man roster. Cuts are coming in fast, trades, the whole 9 yards. So let me give you a quick rundown who's been cut thus far. So far, no surprises with this one. Quarterback Dorian Thompson Robinson. We knew that was going to happen. Unfortunately, Lewis signed or seen. He got hurt with he was waived with the injury designation. Surprisingly, surprisingly and not so surprisingly, Kenyon Green, guy we traded CJ Gardner Johnson for along with a draft pick. But we received a draft pick for him. And then tight end EJ Jenkins, tight end Nick Muse, running back Killian Robinson, running back Montrell Johnson Jr., quarterback Kyle McCord, cornerback Eli Ricks. That's an interesting one because he was a third man year undrafted free agent out of Georgia, part of that Bulldog collective that we got. He came in with Nolan Smith and N'Kobe D and no Jalen Carter, but he played with Jordan and all the rest of them on that University of Georgia defense. He just couldn't crack it. He had a better and interestingly enough, he had a better camp this year than he did last year, but not enough to impress anyone. So again, it's interesting because I figured, him being in his second year in his Vic Fangio defense, he would have been able to crack, at least the starting position. It was there for him to take, and he just couldn't get it together. So it's a shame it didn't work out. Who's to say that he may not end up coming back and being on the practice squad if he clears waivers. We have running back Shanderick Powell. Um, that one was that's another one that I thought maybe he might make it. But again, it is what it is. Maxine Hook, safety Maxine Hook, wide receiver Terrence Marshall, wide receiver Elijah Cooks. Um, I think Cooks was doing really well too, so he may end up on the practice squad. Safety Andre Sam, cornerback AJ Woods, offensive outside linebacker Deshaun Mathis. Of course, you guys know yesterday we brought in Sam Powell and we brought back Fred Johnson. So bringing back Fred Johnson actually made me feel good about depth at the O line, considering what's happening with Landon Dickerson and stuff like that. So where everyone's a bit nicked up. Of course, I believe Jordan Mailata is still in concussion protocol. But I don't think that he'll be still in concussion protocol come week one. So these are things that I'm here. Coyote was good. I'm here almost 9 days. That's right. That's right. It's getting close to that time. What's good, Donald? How you doing, man? My Eagles brother. Yes. Oscar, what's good, big dog? How you doing, man? Coyote, what's good? Yeah, we do got some decent backups, man. Donald, Leo Ski Mask Howie has been doing work with them trades. We are going to repeat Fly Eagles Fly. Coyote said, sorry, too decent. Autocorrect sucks. Bro, that's okay because I fat finger the shit out of everything. So it's all good. You good. You know, um, you know what? And this is hence why I said and more, 53-man roster update and more. I really try to hold off with, addressing too much about the roster or getting married to the roster just of yet because we have Howie and I tried explaining this the other day that our entire off season, and I'm talking from OTAs to the end of training camp, has always been about finding quality depth. Because this year, more so than ever, the end of this year, we're going to be a pretty beat up team. Everybody's going to be beat up. And so health is going to be the thing that's going to keep us, primed and ready to go for the playoffs, barring no catastrophic injuries and such. What we have to do is we have to start building up that depth, getting quality depth. And the thing is that what's interesting is take a look at the number of draft picks we've had in the last 2 years. I think we're running somewhere like around 20, 24, somewhere between 20 and 24 new players on that, new draft picks. And so that big mix of new guys along with some quality veteran leadership, I think will definitely pay back in spades as the years go on, because we're going to be losing a lot of guys in the next couple of years, but cycling them out with newer guys and guys who will have had 3 years, 4 years under Vic Fangio defensively. On the offensive side, we already know that in most of the offense, you're probably going to have to deal with them for the next 2 to 3 years because they're all sold up. AJ, Devontae, Jalen, the whole O line. Those guys are pretty much sold up for the next couple of years. Jesse Martinez says, keep holding off, Leo. Want you and Dallas to beat on each other while we watching with the popcorn, of course, in the weeds. And that's where you want to keep your ass at too, Jesse. Stay your ass in the weeds. I told you that last night. But, the thing is that I fully believe, number one, we are breathing a very different type of air than the rest of the league is. William Goldbreath, what's good, man? The Philadelphia Eagles are what we're doing now is we're sustaining excellence with the quality players we have as starters, and we're building up for the future with these youngins that we're bringing in and getting this system down pat to a science, both from the offensive side and the defensive side. Again, Jalen Hurts from the offensive side, it's really built around Jalen Hurts' maturation and his development as a quarterback. And he has shown you year after year, even despite the fact that he's had a different offensive coordinator every year, the fact that he's been this successful and continues to be warrants putting the necessary pieces and making sure that he has those pieces and those weapons, as the years grow on him. That being said, from the defensive side, that part is because of Vic Fangio and the way things are going. I've said in the past that I truly do believe that we are in the beginnings of watching something. We're seeing something special being built here. Um, Jesse Martinez says, Leo, do you think this is Lane Johnson's last year? He's been talking indirectly about it in WIP. I don't know if this is the year. I think next year. Let's see how, you know what? If he plays, I think we have at least one more year of Lane as long as he stays healthy. Um, and if he gets out of this year relatively healthy and is successful as a Super Bowl, if he gets another ring, then I think that he'll probably want to run it back again. The succession plan has been in place, and I think that this, if this is not his last year, next year will definitely be his not last year. And I think that they'll actually, you know, counsel with him in the same way that they did with Jason Kelsey, and helping them to identify his eventual successor if his successor isn't already on the team already. You know what I'm saying? And right, William, I said the same. That's why I'm saying what I'm saying, because I think, I remember last year Lane said he had another 2 to 3 in him, the way he was feeling and the way the team has been playing. So it's really barring him and how he feels. And he stated that, it's tough and it gets tough every year, but he embraces that and he really likes it. So he'll know, but I don't think that this will be his last year. I really don't think this will be his last year. I think next year, is more likely going to be Lane's last year. And then at that point, the succession plan he'll have more of a say so in that, just like with Jason Kelsey. And then, when you think about yeah, you know what? You know what, William? I'm not even Y'all know how I do. Sometimes I get to going and I forget. So look, y'all, if you are in here right now, do your boy a favor. Y'all know what I need. Hit that like button. And if you have not already subscribed, hit that subscription button too. Y'all know what the goal is. I've already said it. My goal is to get to 10,000 by the middle, 10,000 subscribers by the middle of the season. You know, if I can make that happen and get fast, and y'all know what it is. You know what I'm saying? So help your boy out, share this, let's get these likes up, you know, and let's, you know, and share, you know what I'm saying, and talk to people about it. But, you know, seeing the things that are happening, you know, and the way and look, y'all, this roster is fluid. It's going to be fluid. Even when we get to 53, the 53 that you see that we'll have by tomorrow, 4 o'clock, is not going to be the same 53 by the first game, because you all already know, you know, as we watch how these other teams are making their cuts. Y'all know Howie and the scouting department is sitting there monitoring everybody that's being dropped and being cut, and saying, okay, what was the scouting report that we had on these players when they got drafted, you know, those who didn't get drafted in the UDFAs, you know. And so, you know, we're going to be constantly looking at that. Now, I did read something yesterday, you know, because Tennessee, they have first in line on the waiver wire. So we'll see how that goes. You know, Leo, me and a couple of people told you how to get to 10,000 subs. No. So for those of you who don't know what Jesse's talking about, just and listen, I hate to have to admit to this, but he's right. You know what I'm saying? We'll see. You know, Jesse says the fastest way that we'll get to 10,000 is if the Eagles lose. You know what I'm saying? We have to lose, we have to drop a few games. So that'll get people who are sick of hearing my mouth, who would love to see me eat crow, and would subscribe just so they can get to see it and wallow in my sorrow. Okay, but I would much rather take the wins over the subscription. So if we are by the middle of the season, if we are 9-0, you know, 8-0, 9-0, you know, and we are, or 10-0, you know, and I still am sitting at, you know, 300 subscriptions, I'll take it. I'll take it, because I'm taking on the mantra of my quarterback. Let's keep the main thing the main thing. And the main thing is the wins. All that other stuff, the stats and passing yards and rushing touchdowns and tush pushes, I don't care about none of that shit as long as it adds up to a W. Julie Kurtz, what's good? How you doing? I just going to let Howie Roseman cook. He did the same moves in 17 as he did in 12 seasons. How he just got a chip on his shoulder for drafting Rager instead of Jefferson. Absolutely, absolutely. But you know what though? So a lot of things. If he hadn't have did that, if Chip hadn't have did what he did, we would not be where we are today. We may not have this version of Howie Roseman. And so there's always something, there's always a lesson learned, you know, to, you know, like the other day, and I'm gonna make a short out of it. The other day I was looking at some videos that I had in my video library, and I realized that I had the video clip of me at the link the night we drafted Carson Wentz. It was with my brother-in-law, and we went to that draft party at the link. And I actually had the video when we drafted him, the way the room reacted, the whole 9 yards, including my reaction. I was so happy. And that was in 2016. So look at where we are from 2016 to now. And that was what I was thinking about as I was watching that video, because it was just like, wow, look at how far as a franchise we've come. You know, when we had all those moments, you know, and again, I thank Carson for getting us to the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? Unfortunately, that was going to be his MVP year, and he tore up his knee out in LA against the Rams. And so it was like, oh no, in San Diego. Or was it at the link? He was playing the Rams, I believe. No, yeah, it was the Rams, and he tore his knee up, and then Of course, Nick Foles had to carry us through the playoffs and we won the Super Bowl with Nick Foles at the helm. So, there's some, there was a lot of thoughts that went through that, going through that memory and everything like that. And I was like, oh no, I'm putting this on the bird section because it's such a great video, and of course being able to share that experience with my brother-in-law was real cool as hell too. Uh, Coyote says, Jesse, I hear you. Not sneaking up on you got your future QB waiting. That is true. Jesse, the only thing is how long are you going to have to wait till you get to see him? Is Dart going to have to sit behind Russell and Jameis like Rodgers had to sit behind Brett? So there's a very real possibility if Russell's doing his thing, there's a very real possibility, Jesse, that you may not see Dart in meaningful game action this year. That's not a bad thing, to be quite honest with you, considering who he has to go behind and look at. So um, William says, I truly believe we needed both QBs to win that year, Leo. Absolutely. And that's why that year taught me I think it taught all Eagles fans the importance of having quality QB play in the backup position. If there's ever an organization who learned that lesson about having a quality QB, it is definitely the Philadelphia Eagles, considering we won the Super Bowl with a backup QB, whom we actually drafted, which was Nick Foles. Uh, Jesse says, at Leo, we in rebuild, plenty of time. Absolutely, Jesse. Absolutely. And here's the thing too, you know, um, it could work to your favor too if he has to sit back a couple of years. You know what I'm saying? You may not have to put, by the time his rookie contract is up, you may not have to. You may have to pay a big buck, but you may not. It just depends. But if you don't have to throw him in the deep end right off the bat, that may not necessarily be a bad thing. I know people who would say just throw him in the fire and let him see what you get, and that works for a lot of people, but it also doesn't work for a lot of people too. So we don't know. Donald, the little men haven't been nothing since Eli Manning. Jesse Donald said that. I didn't say it. I ain't saying I disagree with him. I'm just saying Donald said it. I didn't say it. So let's keep the main thing the main thing. So when you spit that vitriol, make sure you put the right correct address on that. uh Coyote says, Leo, you got to admit that run Nick Foles had was possibly the best single run by QB I've ever seen. You know what, man? I remember when we got when we brought Nick Foles in, and I remember telling people, y'all forget we drafted this dude. Y'all also forget that his cleats and jersey are in the Hall of Fame because when he was our starting QB for a minute, and this was his first stint during his first stint with us. Nick Foles had a game against I think it was the Oakland Raiders, where he had, like, um 7 touchdowns, no interceptions or something like that. It was enough that at the end of the game, they snatched all his shit and took it to the Hall of Fame. You know what I'm saying? So, though he may not be inducted into the Hall of Fame, he still has items that are in the Hall of Fame. So, and shout out to Nick Foles and thank you for your service. Thank you for everything that you've done for us. Thank you for stepping in the way that you did and managing things and helping us win and winning the Super Bowl. I think he did. I'm sort of kind of like on Coyote's side when I say for a guy who had to come in under the circumstances that he came in, that run he had was probably one of the greatest runs I've ever seen from a backup QB who just got thrown in, who came in under some serious circumstances. He outgunned the GOAT. That Super Bowl, it was legendary. Yes, he did. You know, I said it, Leo. We are rivals, no love lost. The don't like us, and we for sure don't like them. Fly Eagles fly, Super Bowl champion. Hey, hey, from what is it? Your ears to God's lips, or from your lips to God's ears. However it goes, we need to repeat. Hey, y'all already know too. I am on the hook. Okay, I am out there. I put myself out there, y'all. I was on Mark Holmes' show and I told him that we were going to repeat and we were going to threaten the three-peat, and you know how Mark does that. Oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. 27 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Yeah, yeah, that year, yeah. So it was crazy. You know what I'm saying? So, Nick Foles did his thing. I just think, like I said, everybody, look, it's Howie. It's Ski Mask Howie time. Matter of fact, hold on. Let me let y'all know. It's this is the time it is right now. Okay. Uh-oh. Come on, man. We on this time, yo. Okay. We are on Ski Mask Howie time. All right. Y'all already know. It's Howie Vision. You know what I'm saying? We all just in it. This is Ski Mask Howie time. Okay. Y'all know what he doing. He's in the lab right now. I guarantee y'all right now, Howie's in his office. He probably hasn't even left the NovaCare complex. You know what I'm saying? Because he's probably sleeping in his office, you know what I'm saying, getting everything ready and making phone calls, looking at tapes. He's probably, and I bet you he ain't even in the building by himself, So again, I like that, and I think that, we'll see. But I know this though, when it's all said and done, we're going to have a very, 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 very talented, not just a talented offense or a talented starting offense or a talented starting defense. This team is going to be loaded. Okay, that's what we're doing. We're loading up. You know what I'm saying? If you ask me, you know, this is not, you hear people talk about the Super Bowl slump and all this other stuff and blah, 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 blah. And yes, that is a very real thing. But I don't, this doesn't, the Eagles don't, they're not conducting themselves like they're a team that's resting on their laurels after having won the Super Bowl. You know, do I agree with everything Howie's done? Hell no. I'm mad that we let go of Isaiah Rodgers. I'm mad we traded for CJ Gardner Johnson. I don't agree with everything, but then at the same time, who's to say what I don't know what Howie sees and what he doesn't see. But you know what? And I remember saying this, whenever you have something going down, like when we lost the way we did in 23 against, with the collapse and everything like that. And I said, I just wanted to see some activity. You know what I'm saying? I don't care if it's good activity or bad activity. I need to see some activity. I need to see something happening. You're doing something. You're not just sitting still. And that's exactly what we see. This is activity. This is the kind of activity that makes me feel reassured that we have the personnel, we have the folks who are going to do whatever it is they need to do to make the team better. How are we going to make this team even better than what it is? A lot of good on good. I thought bringing back Fred Johnson was a good thing just because it helps to shore up that offensive line. And we have somebody on the team who's familiar with the way Jeff Stoutland likes to run that offensive line. You know, I think one of the best qualities about our offensive line, particularly last year, was everybody on that offensive line, including Mekhi Becton, who, by the way, changed positions. He went from tackle to guard. And that was based off of Nick Sirianni saying, hey, Jeff, let's try him at guard. Let's see how he does there. And he flourished. He flourished so much that as a free agent, he went and got himself a bag out there and with the Chargers in Los Angeles. And so I think it's the same thing happening now. Donald says, Jesse, sit back and watch history in the making. We're going to repeat, and you are going to watch my Eagles get another trophy, and your team is going to be home come playoffs time, Jesse, Super Bowl champions. Um, Coyote said, Jesse, you did, and Eli was great, those 2 runs, but beating that undefeated Patriots team with that crazy combo of Brady and Moss was insane. That New York D-line was an all-time great. Yeah, man. They sure were. They sure were. As a matter of fact, I'm actually friends with a member of that team, the wide receiver, Amani Toomer. A real good guy. You know what I'm saying? I love that dude, even though he gets on my damn nerves and and everything, and because he likes to stick his Super Bowl ring in my face and whatnot. But solid man, great guy. One of the funniest people I know, like I said, man, he's a good dude, and he knows, he likes to needle me and everything like that. He's just as bad, if not worse, than Eugene. So it is what it is. But that's my dude, you know what I'm saying? I definitely go to bat for him. I don't necessarily always hold it against him for being a former Giant, but outside of football, you know what I'm saying? That's my man, 50 grand for real. You know what I'm saying? Amani, I love you, bro. But again, hey y'all, remember, it's Howie Vision. We just living in it. Ski Mask Howie's in the lab right now. He's in that office. He's working it out. He's going to get us Jesse says, Leo, please get me an autograph from Toomer. Okay, yeah, Donald. Oh yeah, Jesse, thanks for Barkley. Your team is a joke. You guys giving us Barkley helped us get a Vince Lombardi trophy. Yeah, you know what? Last year was the Saquon getting the rushing title and the ring was enough. But let me tell you how the nail in the coffin for when I have to deal with these Giants fans, and they really get on my nerves. When it's all said and done, when Saquon goes into the Hall of Fame, he's going in as an Eagle. He's going to go in as a Philadelphia Eagle. Okay, so that's all hey, you know what I'm saying? I'll take it. You know what I'm saying? So that being the thing is that also hurts. That stings. And they don't have to and they'll never admit it. Old Donald, keep the faith while you're getting crushed. Kelly said, I like Eugene. You can tell he walks the walk and he is passionate. I think passionate is an understatement. One of the things that I've learned about, some of my friends who've played in the NFL is that it's a different experience for them when we're watching games and stuff like that, because I'm watching it as a fan. They're looking at game film, you know what I'm saying? And so when Eugene sees things, it's that's the benefit I have, that Eugene he sees things and he'll point it out. Oh, look at that block, someone missed that block. Oh my gosh, his feet was all wrong, all that type of stuff. So I love hearing that, and Amani, he has some pretty strong feelings about things too. And I've talked with him. I've had a one or two conversations with Xavier Rhodes. I actually had an opportunity to meet Torrey Smith, and so these guys, even Jarrett Green, Darrell Green's son, who actually played for the Cowboys. He likes to needle me too when he gets the opportunity. He thinks it's funny. His dad thinks I'm funny too, because I'm an Eagles fan, and I just tell Mr. Green, like, like, I respect you and it's so nice to meet you and everything like that, but dude, I ain't feeling you like that, because you're the author of some pretty bad moments for me. And he just cracks up. So that's cool, because I, again, even with Mr. Green, I have the utmost respect for him. He's a really, really good dude. It's like it takes all about 5 minutes to get past the fandom part of it all, and you actually get to talk to these people and meet them as people. And like, once you get past all that, man, they are really good guys. Torrey Smith is doing a lot to help the youth. I mean, a whole lot. So like, when you get to see what these guys are into, Eugene has been supporting a nonprofit out in Hawaii where they do like these crazy ass obstacle course, like run trails and shit like that, Ironman type thing. And he's done it from his rookie year all the way up to today. So he still goes out there, he's doing that. So it is what it is. I like, like, I once I get to know these guys and see how they're doing, Xavier Rhodes, same thing. My man is doing everything. He's still heavy in the community. He's still doing his thing. He's still helping out people. They don't never stop. They don't ever stop when it comes to, these causes that they're patronage of. You know what I'm saying? So I really appreciate that, and it helps me to see them in the light that under circumstances they don't really get cast on. So I think these guys, and listen, the blessing is, like, again, getting to know these guys by virtue of having being, partners with Eugene. And you come across these folks, these are, you find out, man, these dudes are really, really good guys. So I appreciate that. look, folks, that's really all I have for y'all tonight. I just wanted to get on here and give a quick update because these roster cuts are coming in so fast, and I'm just sitting here watching and saying, what Leo, what is Mailata's status? Sucks for CTEs. Yeah, well, I think he's still in the concussion protocol. But and he may end up being out of that by week's end, so I wouldn't be surprised if he's already out of it, because that happened last week. So who's to say? I don't know. But Coyote says, I respect service members too. Lots of my family served, and it's an honorable sacrifice. Hey, listen, Coyote, and Jesse will tell you serving in the United States military has been the honor. It's the honor. The honor is ours, and so we take that. We live it. We never stop. Once when we took that oath, we it was for life, and it still is, and that's how we look at things. So with that, I'm gonna cut it short because I only wanted to be on here for 30 minutes just to give y'all quick updates, let y'all know what's going on, what I think, the little bit of more that I know. Don't be married to this roster just as of yet. Things are still, it's fluid. It's fluid. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm definitely going to hop on here probably sometime late or early tomorrow evening, if not late at night, around this time or later or earlier, a little bit earlier. But we'll yep, exactly, Jesse. You know what I'm saying? And so with that being said, before I get out of here, again, y'all, hit that like button, help your boy out, share it. And if you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button. I gotta get these subs up. Y'all know what my goal is, okay? And so when I come home and listen, I don't take any of it for granted. I'll definitely do another live where we can have everybody come in. I'll put the link in the description so that you guys can hop on in and we could talk our talk. Again, this is the bird section. Oh, and the guardrails are off. All are welcome. Later, y'all.